Thank you. If we could do one more round of applause for the JBTS Big Band. Thank you everyone for being here. We're going to go ahead and get started with our program. I promise we'll only keep you here 3 or 4 hours. I do want to take a note and talk about the weather for a moment, which is absolutely miserable. And I think it's a sure sign that Bernie is looking down on us from above, because he would be mortified that we are all here for him and all here to dedicate a park named to him. We know, among many other things, Bernie was probably the most humble man I had ever met. So I'm sure he's smiling down on us, but upset at all of us for making such a big deal out of him, even though he deserves this every day of every year. There's a lot of people we have to thank for getting us here today. We're here to celebrate the opening of the park and to remember our friend Bernie. But in particular, I want to make sure we thank the Conservation Commission, the Trails Committee, our Community Preservation Committee, our talented town staff, including the Community Development Department that really took this park project and ran with it, our town meeting, the Board of Selectmen, and of course, all the residents of Norwood and the Cooper family. So thank you to everyone who got us here and made this happen. First up on deck to speak, we are going to hear from Ollie Abdullah. She's going to be joining us from the back of the room. Ollie, the floor is yours.
Ladies and gentlemen, it is a pleasure to be here today at Balt School. I love the Balt School from the bottom of my heart. I started out off here at the school going to kindergarten. Now, I'm not going to tell you how many years ago that was. And the friends that I made at Balt School are all still my closest and dearest friends, many, many years later. So every time I come here, I think of all the wonderful things, the wonderful education I got here as a child, the wonderful teachers that we had here at the Balt School then, and the wonderful teachers that we have here now. And I enjoy coming back here a great deal. I would also like to talk about my dear friend, Bernie Cooper. Bernie and I served together many, many years in Norwood on various boards. We worked very hard. We had good times. We had over 30 years experience with the concert committee. And I can tell you a short, funny story one night that happened. 5 o'clock before a concert, Bernie and I were rushing around outside on the town common, putting up everything together, and all of a sudden rainstorm came, and we washed out. We looked like we had just come from a shower. So then that was the end of that concert that night. But every single committee that we ever served on together in the town of Norwood, we loved. We loved the people. We loved working with everybody. And we are so fortunate to have a wonderful community such as we do. So I would also, I'm sitting beside my dear sister Helen, and since I had my stroke, she has been absolutely wonderful to me. But now, thank God, I'm feeling better, and I appreciate all of your friendship so much. And thank you for inviting me here today. This has brought so much happiness into everyone's hearts and in my heart, and I'd love to help out again here at the Balt School. So thank you very much.
Thank you, Ollie. Before I bring up our next speaker, I'm going to share the story of the first time I met Bernie in person. We'd known each other a little bit through our professional association, a couple of emails back and forth on different topics. But I had come to have a meeting with John Carroll, sort of transition meeting at this point 8 or 9 years ago. John and I went through a bunch of topics. He said, would you like to go to lunch? Sure, I'd like to go to lunch. He goes, would you like Bernie to do us? And I said, yes, I'd love to meet Bernie in person. So sure enough, Bernie met us that day at Murph's. I let John drive, which some of you know was, a little bit risky at the time. But we had lunch, and I just felt like I had met my best friend. It just felt natural, and it felt like it worked. And I think we probably had 1,000 lunches between then and when Bernie left us. But I first met him having lunch, and I think the last time we had seen him, we had lunch, and then he ended up taking a sick day and went from there. But started and ended with lunch at I think Murph's in Brookside. But I still remember very vividly the first day I met Bernie, and he walked in wearing a hat and that green coat that he had. Another just quick funny Bernie story. I was at a training yesterday and met somebody who grew up in Norwood, Gary Altman, whose father he knew Bernie growing up, whose father owned the other hardware store downtown. So he goes, oh, I knew Bernie, and his dad owned a hardware shop, and my dad owned a hardware shop. So Bernie is still thought of regularly by a lot of us in a lot of places, and well remembered by everyone that knew him. The next person that we're going to bring up to speak is Patty Bailey, employee of the Norwood Library, lifelong Norwood resident, and the head of the South Norwood Committee. Patty, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Tony. Good afternoon, everyone. We're here today for a truly special occasion. We are not just dedicating a park, but celebrating a legacy of natural beauty, community spirit, and the enduring impact of a remarkable individual. I remember when this land was just an oversized, empty lot, which the neighborhood kids, including myself, referred to as the sand pits. As time passed by, trees started growing, and over the years, the lot filled with the vegetation and provided a natural habitat for deer, birds, squirrels, and the occasional fox. Fast forward to the mid-1980s, when the lot was set to be developed with townhouse condos. The neighbors banded together and set out to stop a project of this size that would change the area for the wrong reasons. We knew the infrastructure could not handle such a project at the time and worried about protecting the land. Being involved in such a movement truly inspired me to get involved with the town, as well as gathering many signatures at that time, over 250 from Norwood residents throughout the town, to bring before the Board of Selectmen requesting the town purchase the land for open space. As timing is everything, this proposal never gained any additional momentum. Over the years, a few other potential housing projects were proposed, yet nothing materialized until it was slated for development in the worst way. In 2018, the purchasers of the property wanted to park hundreds of cars here to supplement the inventory of their dealerships. With the help of now Selectman Michael Sad, former Selectwoman Helen Abdallah Donahue, Ollie Abdallah, Joe Greeley, Cheryl Doyle, Fred Cannon, Tom and Kate Gio, Judith Howard, Mike Nemesco, among others. There's so many that I can't remember everyone. We all banded together with the same goal in mind. Many of us saw the potential for something more, a place where future generations could connect with nature, where families could gather, and where our community could breathe. I'm proud to have played a small part in the effort to save this land, and it fills my heart to see it today as the beginning of a vibrant, thriving park. But today we're here to honor someone who embodied that same spirit of vision and dedication, our late Assistant Town Manager, Bernie Cooper. For so many years, Bernie was the heart and soul of our town. He wasn't just an administrator, he was a neighbor, a friend, and a tireless advocate for the people of Norwood. He worked behind the scenes, often without recognition, to make our town a better place. Bernie truly believed in the power of community. His office was always open, perhaps a little cluttered, but he gave everyone the time and attention steadfastly. His loss is deeply felt by all of us, But even in our sadness, we can find comfort in knowing that his spirit lives on. And what better way to honor that spirit than by dedicating this beautiful space in his name? This park, like Bernie, represents growth, community, and the enduring power of nature. It's a living tribute to someone who dedicated their life to making our community a better place. Thank you.
Thank you, Patty. I'd be remiss if I didn't recognize and thank a few other people who are here. We have members from the Planning Board here. We have members from the Finance Commission here. Our town moderator, Representative Rogers, was here earlier. Registrar of Deeds, Billy O'Donnell, is here. I think the wide range of people you see here today shows Bernie's impact on the community and his impact on all of our lives. That same first day when I met Bernie, as John and I were exiting his office, we walked by Bernie's office. And I sort of looked at it and looked at John, and John goes, "Gee, Tony, I'm sorry. I've told him to clean it up. I promise I'll get it cleaned up by the time you started." And I just looked at John and said, "John, if you haven't gotten it done in 40 years, you ain't going to get it done in 2 months." And sure enough, he certainly didn't, but we learned to adjust to it. The next speaker that we're going to bring up is Amelia, Bernie's daughter, and she's going to share with us perhaps what it was like for Bernie as a father. Because most of us knew him as somebody we worked with, somebody we worked on town projects with. We knew him as the humble, kind man he was, but only a fortunate few got to know him as a father. And most people wouldn't use the word fierce to describe Bernie, but let me tell you, if you were trying to get a second trash barrel, Bernie would fight tooth and nail, and he wouldn't let you have it, and I just learned to stay out of those arguments. One of the things I miss about Bernie, he had this incredible ability to sort of tell people off and they would never get mad at him. They would sit there and make their case for a trash barrel or whatever it was, and he would just say, "I'm sorry, you're not getting one. That's the rule. You can't have a second trash barrel." And everyone just accepted it and walked on. I'll apologize till the son comes home and give people whatever they want and they still get mad at me, but Bernie just had that way about him that he could tell you like it is and you just walk away smiling. And I think we miss that about him. And I'll share one more story before we bring Amelia up here. Bernie and I went to a conference in Nashville some years ago. It was before the pandemic, which sometimes feels like 100 years ago. And you go to a conference, you go to the sessions, you go at night, you have a drink or two. And I happen to be telling, I think, Amelia the story a while after. I said, "Yeah, we're out having a drink." And he said, "You were out having a drink?" I said, "Yeah, we went out to a bar and we had a drink." "You were out having a drink with my dad?" "My dad goes out to a bar and has a drink." And it's funny, I happen to have a great photo of Bernie in his coat that's up in my office, just out having a drink and a good time. So the totality of somebody's life and the whole dynamism of somebody's life is sometimes not present to all of us. But we went out, we had a great time that whole trip, and we had a lot of other good times. So I know the family misses him as much as I do, and certainly more so. So with that, Amelia, the floor is yours.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Amelia, and I am Bernie's youngest child. Thank you all so much for being here today. I think it's hard to express what it means to my whole family to stand here and dedicate a park in honor of my dad, Bernie Cooper. If you knew my dad, you knew he was not one for recognition. In fact, we can all hear him now saying, "That's enough, let's get back to work." He was never about the spotlight. He was the kind of person who made everything run smoothly, but quietly from behind the scenes. If there was a community event happening, concerts on the Common, Norwood Day, the 4th of July parade, Recycling Day, he was there every single time, helping set up, organize, take down, clean up, and volunteering his children. Whatever was needed, he got it done. And then he went home and he did the only thing he could do to relax, which was pick up brush in our yard. The last thing he would do every weekend was take a trip to his favorite place, which was the town dump. That was his idea of unwinding. That's where you would find him. That tireless energy, the love for his town, and the deep sense of responsibility is reflected in the park outside. This space isn't just a collection of trails and trees. It's designed for everybody, with wheelchair-accessible paths, an outdoor classroom that will give a kid's chance to learn and explore nature. It's a place where neighbors will gather, where families will play, and where people will build the kind of community he believed so deeply in. A quote from my dad that really stuck with me, and I think a lot of others as well, is, "Life is what you make it, and so is the community." The community is what we make it. And he lived that every single day. He made this community better, not with grand gestures, but with everyday actions. He believed in showing up, lending a hand, and getting the job done, no matter how big or small, and he gave quietly but wholeheartedly. What's most meaningful to me personally is knowing that my 2 daughters, who he never got to meet, will be able to grow up playing here. They'll run on these trails, they'll climb, explore, and laugh in a space where their grandfather helped create through the life that he lived. And in that way, my kids will know him. They'll know his spirit because it lives in every corner of this park, and that's one of them. To everyone who made this park a reality, thank you. Thank you for honoring a man who never asked for thanks. I know he'd be humbled by this and probably eager to grab a rake and start tidying up the park. So today, let's cut a ribbon, let's take a walk, maybe, and celebrate the kind of life my dad lived, full of heart, full of humor, and full of purpose. Thank you.
And now we're getting to the moment that we've all been waiting for. We have a giant pair of scissors, and we're going to ask all of the Coopers, crying or otherwise, to come up here. And Connie, we're going to ask you to cut the ribbon, surrounded by family. Yeah. You're in the middle, right? In just a minute, when everyone gets settled, we'll give them a little countdown, but we'll give them a minute to get ready. All right, we ready to count down? 3, 2, 1. Yay! Woo! Thank you. Thank you, everyone. The band will be playing for a while longer. We all know that Bernie loved music, so feel free to stay and enjoy the snacks and the band. Oh, would you like to? Yep, come on up.
I just wanted to say really quickly,
Oop.
thank you to everyone for coming. I think like a lot of people who passed away during COVID, whether it was COVID related or not, we're sort of robbed of an event like this or a funeral, and it really means a lot to me and Robin Bernard that we're able to finally celebrate him with all of you. So thank you so much.
Thank you, Alicia. Thank you, everyone. Thank you for coming. Bernie would have been very proud, as well as mortified at us.